Holy free holies, people! I just made the longest video ever. Look, the giraffe. It's a giraffe. Guys, listen, I just made the longest video ever. It's going to happen right after this, but listen, don't worry, okay? Don't worry, because I actually cut it up into pieces. You can find it down in the description. You can find the book that you're really interested in. But I had no idea it would take this long. I apologize, but for those who really like to know about books, this is going to be the bit of video for you. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're diving into why prepping is more important than ever. The world around us is growing more unpredictable by the day. Natural disasters are striking with greater frequency, economic instability is shaking things up, and geopolitical tensions are keeping us on edge all the time. But here's the good news. Being prepared doesn't just mean surviving the chaos. It's about thriving through it. Let's talk about the power of knowledge, because when it comes to preparedness, books are your secret weapon. Reading opens up a world of survival skills, self-reliance, and practical know-how straight from authors who've been there and done that. Their real-world experiences and insights can teach us how to store food, build shelters, or even navigate the wilderness. Knowledge isn't just power, it's empowerment, helping us to make smart decisions and adapt to whatever curveball life throws at us. Today, I'm going to share 7 must-read books every prepper needs on their shelf, plus the essential skills that will help you master the things that we have to do as preppers. So let's get started. The first book I want to talk about is titled The Prepper's Blueprint, the step-by-step guide to help you through any disaster by Tess Pennington. It's a comprehensive manual designed to help individuals and families prepare for a wide range of emergencies and disasters. The book provides a structured, practical approach to building self-reliance and resilience, emphasizing the importance of having a well thought out plan or blueprint to navigate the unexpected crisis that will come our way sooner or later. The content is organized into 3 distinct layers, as they're called, of preparedness, each addressing different levels of disaster scenarios. In the first layer, layer 1, that's going to be chapter 1 through 14, it focuses on short-term emergencies such as power outages, storms, injuries, and evacuations. This section covers the basics of preparing for disruptions lasting up to a couple of weeks, including initial steps like assembling emergency kits, securing food and water for short durations, and planning for immediate safety. The second layer, that's going to be chapters 15 through 31, addresses longer lasting crises such as economic collapse, extended power outages, or even pandemics. It builds on the foundation of layer 1, offering guidance on expanding supplies, developing skills, and creating strategies to cope with disruptions that could last weeks or even months. Now, layer 3, that's going to be chapters 32 through 56. That's right, this is a lengthy book. Prepares readers for extreme long-term scenarios, essentially a complete shift in lifestyle due to events like social or societal collapse or resource depletion. This section delves or dives into advanced topics like securing food and water when supplies run out, establishing security measures, setting up retreat properties, and planning for sustainable living over an extended period. The book's overarching goal is to empower readers to achieve self-reliance, enabling them not to just survive, but to thrive, which is my favorite thing, in a world altered by disaster. It covers essential topics such as food storage and preservation, water sourcing and purification, medical preparedness, self-defense, community building, and financial readiness. Now, Pennington emphasizes practical, actionable steps, making the guide accessible to beginners while offering insights to more experienced preppers like all of you guys. Drawing from her extensive experience since 2007 as the founder of Ready Nutrition, she provides supply lists, skill building techniques, and real life scenarios to help readers tailor their preparedness plans to their unique circumstances. Now, next, I want to talk about a book, the SAS Survival Handbook by John Wiseman. It's a comprehensive guide to surviving in a wild variety of challenging situations and environments, written by a former member of the British Special Air Service, the SAS, with 26 years of experience. The book draws on the training techniques of this elite fighting force to equip readers with the practical skills and knowledge for emergency preparedness. The handbook covers an extensive range of survival topics, but it's a good to go resource for campers, hikers, outdoor adventures, and anyone interested in self reliance. It is structured to address both basic and advanced survival needs that include, but are not limited to, preparation, understanding essential survival skills such as reading weather patterns and assembling key items like pocket survival kits, shelter and what is it? Campcraft, techniques for finding or building shelters, setting up camp, staying warm, and crafting tools in diverse environments from deserts to polar regions. And then it talks about things like food and water. It's going to give you some guidance on identifying edible plants and animals, avoiding dangerous ones, obviously, and sourcing and purifying water and preparing food in the wild. Now, the next thing it's going to talk about is, well, not the next thing, but it's going to talk about first aid. It's going to give you a detailed course in emergency and wilderness medicine. It's going to offer you some strategies to manage injuries and maintain health in any climate. And then it also talks about navigation. It talks about different methods to find your way using natural signs, basic tools, and modern technologies like GPS, ensuring you can traverse unfamiliar terrain. And then it's also going to talk about doing some disaster survival, like practical advice for coping with natural disasters, e.g., floods, wildfires, man-made crises, like terrorism, urban breakdowns. It's going to include how to react when services and supplies are unavailable. And then it also speaks about self-defense and security, basic hand-to-hand combat techniques, and strategies for protecting yourself and your property. Now, this book is noted for its clear step-by-step instructions and is illustrated with easy-to-follow diagrams. It's got revised editions such as third edition, and it's been updated to reflect advancements in survival knowledge and technology, adding topics like urban survival and terrorism preparedness. With its broad scope spanning wilderness, urban, disaster scenarios, Wiseman's handbook aims to empower readers to handle any emergency, emphasizing both physical skills and the mental resilience needed to endure and overcome adversity. Now I want to show you a book called The Modern Survival Manual, Surviving the Economic Collapse by Fernando Therfall, is his nickname, Aguirre. Hopefully I'm saying that right, it's a practical guide to preparing for and enduring a societal collapse based on the author's firsthand experience during Argentina's 2001 economic crisis. Now, Aguirre, survivalist. I can't say his last name right. A survivalist who lived through the dramatic fallout of that event, including currency devaluation, riots, bank closures, and a surge in crime, offers a no-nonsense approach to readiness for tough times. The book covers a wide range of topics essential for surviving an economic downturn or broader societal disruption. It emphasizes preparing yourself, your family, your home, and your vehicle for instability. Key areas are going to include for this book financial preparedness, strategies to safeguard your finances against the kind of economic chaos that he witnessed and where millions lost their savings overnight. It's also going to cover supplies and resources, how to stockpile food, water, and other essentials to weather shortages and power outages. It's also going to talk about self-defense, practical advice on defending yourself, whether with improvised weapons like a chair or a pen, a gun or a knife, or bare hands if you have to, tailored to real-world scenarios. It's also going to speak to situational awareness, which is very important. Developing the mindset to anticipate and avoid trouble while you consider critical, or you would consider it critical for survival. And then he's going to talk about urban survival. Unlike many survival guides that focus on wilderness scenarios, this book addresses the realities of surviving in cities during the breakdown of infrastructure and services. Now, his approach is grounded in his lived experience rather than theoretical speculation, making it distinct for many speculative doomsday manuals. He discusses what worked and what didn't during Argentina's collapse, offering lessons on adaptability, resilience, and maintaining a proactive attitude. The book also tackles the psychological shift needed to shed complacency and face harsh realities. Um, it's written in a straightforward, often candid style. It's aimed at anyone looking to bolster their preparedness, whether for an economic depression, natural disaster, or other crisis, without relying on exaggerated apocalyptic tropes. It's less about retreating to the wilderness and more about thriving amid urban chaos, making it particularly relevant for those of you that live in the modern, densely populated settings of a city. Now, up next is a book titled The Prepper's Long-Term Survival Guide: Food, Shelter, Security, Off-the-Grid Power, and More Life-Saving Strategies for Self-Sufficient Living. Man, that was a long title. By Jim Jim Cobb. I always mix his name up with somebody else. It's a detailed manual focused on preparing for and thriving during extended emergencies or societal disruptions. It's written by an experienced survivalist and author. The book is designed to help readers achieve self-sufficiency over the long haul. Whether facing natural disasters, economic collapse, or other prolonged crises. The book emphasizes practical, actionable strategies for sustainable life when modern conveniences and infrastructure fail. It's structured to guide readers through the essentials of long-term survival, covering key areas such as food, techniques for stockpiling, growing, foraging, and preserving food to ensure a reliable supply over months or years. Cobb, he includes advice on gardening, hunting, and managing food resources efficiently. And then he talks about water. Now, you guys know that's my number one prep: water, food, and security, right? In that order. Now, water, methods for securing it, purifying it, and storing it, water to maintain a safe and consistent supply, even in contaminated or scarce conditions. And then he talks about shelter, tips for fortifying your home or creating alternative shelters to stay safe and comfortable during extended disruptions. He also speaks about security, strategies for protecting yourself, your family, and your resources, including basic defensive tactics and community cooperation. And then he goes on to talk about off-grid power. Sorry, I got an itch right there. He goes on to talk about off-grid power, option for generating and maintaining energy independence, such as solar panels, wind power, or other alternative systems. And then maybe a little bit about health and hygiene, guidance on medical preparation, sanitation, and maintenance, well-being without access to modern healthcare or utilities, because you can't survive on baby wipes. He also talks about community and bartering, insights on building networks and others for mutual support, and establishing a barter system when traditional currency loses value. Now, his approach is grounded in realism, focusing on sustainable living rather than short-term survival. He assumes a scenario where help isn't coming anytime soon. Um, think weeks, months, or longer, and provides a roadmap for adapting to that reality. The book is beginner-friendly, yet offers depth for seasoned preppers. It blends step-by-step instructions with broader concepts like planning and resource management. It was published as a follow-up to his earlier work, The Prepper's Home Defense. This guide actually expands the scope to encompass a holistic view of self-reliance. It's less about specific events and more about building a resilient lifestyle, making it versatile for various long-term challenges, from grid failures to societal shifts. Now, his writing is clear and pragmatic, aiming to empower readers to take control of their survival with confidence and foresight. Now, we can't go without mentioning this prepping classic read, One Second After by William Forstchen. It's a fictional novel that explores the devastating aftermath of an electromagnetic pulse, also known as an EMP, attack on the United States. It was published in 2009. The book blends storytelling with a cautionary tale about modern society's vulnerability to such an event, drawing on Forsten's background as a historian to ground the narrative in plausible detail. Now, the story centers on John Matherson, a widowed history professor and retired Army colonel living in the small town of Black Mountain, North Carolina, with his two daughters. The plot begins with an EMP, a high altitude nuclear detonation that that fries electronics and power grids, suddenly cripples the nation. And in an instant, cars stall, phones die, and electricity vanishes, plunging the country into chaos. You know, um, what follows is a gripping depiction of how a technology dependent society unravels when stripped of its infrastructure. Now, key themes or elements of this book include the immediate impact. The EMP renders modern conveniences useless, stranding people and halting communication, transportation, and supply chains. It also talks to survival struggles. Matherson, the guy, and his community grapple with dwindling food, the lack of medical care, exasperated by his daughter's diabetes, get healthy, and the breakdown of law and order as resources vanish. Now, the book also speaks to societal collapse, which would be expected. The novel portrays the rapid descent from normalcy to desperation with looting, starvation, and violence emergency as people they fight to survive. And then it kind of touches on leadership and resilience. Matherson emerges as a reluctant leader organizing the town to defend itself against external threats like marauding gangs while rationing supplies and making tough moral choices. And then it kind of talks about the human cost. The story doesn't shy away from the grim reality with millions dying from hunger, disease, and conflict. In the year following the attack. The book's strength lies in its focus on a small town perspective, making the large-scale disaster feel personal and relatable. Now, Forsten uses Matherson's military and historical knowledge to frame the crisis, drawing parallels to past societies that collapsed under similar strains. A forward by Newt Gingrich and an afterword by a military expert underscore its intent as a wake-up call about EMP vulnerabilities. A threat Forsten researched extensively, including uh, thorough congressional testimony, while fictional One Second After is often praised and critiqued for its realism through, or should I say, though some note is, it's occasionally heavy-handed style and bleak outlook. It's the first in a trilogy, followed by One Year After and The Final Day, but stands alone as a stark exploration of survival, community, and the fragility of modern life. Now let's talk about a book called The Survival Medicine Handbook, a guide for when Help is Not on the Way by Joseph Alton and Amy Alton. He's a doctor and she's a super nurse. This is a comprehensive guide to managing medical emergencies in situations where professional healthcare is not available. Obviously, it's written by a physician and a nurse practitioner with extensive experience in survival medicine. The book is designed for lay people, preppers, and anyone preparing for disasters, natural or man-made. Where the hospitals, the doctors, or even emergency services may be way out of reach. The handbook focuses on practical hands-on medical knowledge and skills for scenarios like wilderness expeditions, economic collapse, pandemics, or grid down events. It's structured to help readers understand, diagnose, and treat a wide range of health issues when modern medical infrastructure fails. Some of the key topics that are in this book, which is it's it's a pretty impressive book. Basic medical skills, duh, right? Instructions on assessing patients, taking vital signs, and improvising with limited resources. Obviously, it's going to talk about first aid and trauma. They're going to give us some detailed guidance on handling injuries like cuts, fractures, burns, gunshot wounds, and other emergencies common in chaotic situations. It's also going to talk about infections and diseases, how to identify, prevent, and treat bacterial, viral, and fungal infections without access to prescription drugs, including natural remedies and hygiene practices. And then it also talks about chronic conditions, strategies for managing ongoing illnesses like diabetes or even hypertension when medications run low or the pharmacies close. Now, it touches on medical supplies, advice for stockpiling essential tools, over-the-counter medications, and antibiotics, kind of with a focus on antibiotics or fish antibiotics, should I say, as a controversial but practical options. And then it also talks about improvised care, um, techniques for creating makeshift medical solutions, such as using everyday items for wound care or stabilization. Environmental hazards. It's going to address issues like hypothermia, heat stroke, or contaminated water in austere conditions. And then it dwells into a little bit of long-term survival, planning for sustained medical self-reliance, including dental care and childbirth without professional help. The book is now in its fourth edition. I think it was updated in 2021. The book reflects their decades of teaching survival medicine through their platform. It's called Doom and Bloom. Um, it assumes no prior medical training, using clear language and step-by-step explanations. Often, it actually has like lots of illustrations in it. The author emphasizes preparation both in knowledge and supplies, while acknowledging the limits of the layperson, the ability to give care. Unlike general first aid manuals, it's tailored for prolonged crises, making it a staple for preppers and off-grid enthusiasts. Um, their perspective is quite pragmatic yet cautious, urging readers to use the information responsibly and seek professional care when possible. It's less about replacing doctors and more about bridging the gap when no help is coming. And the final book on our official list is titled Bushcraft 101, a field guide to the art of wilderness survival. And it's written by the glorious Dave Canterbury. Canterbury, I think it is. It's a practical, hands-on guide to mastering the skills needed to thrive in the wilderness using minimal gear and a deep understanding of nature. It's written by a well-known survival expert, co-host of the TV show Dual Survivor, and founder of the Pathfinder School. The book distills Canterbury's extensive experience into an accessible manual for outdoor enthusiasts, campers, hunters, and anyone interested in self-reliance. The book focuses on bushcraft, the art of living in the wild with traditional skills and knowledge, rather than relying on modern techniques or extensive supplies. It's designed as a field guide, emphasizing practical techniques over theoretical concepts. Now, the key topics include the 5 C's of survivability. Canterbury introduced this core survival priorities, some years ago. It's cutting tools, knives, combustion, fire, cover, shelter, containers, that's for water and cooking, and cordage, rope or string, and explains how to use and maintain these essentials. He also talks about shelter building, step by step methods for constructing shelters using natural materials like branches, leaves, and tarps to protect against weather and wildlife. And then obviously he's got to talk about firecraft. Fire! Techniques for starting and maintaining a fire in various conditions, including wood selection, fire lays, and primitive methods like flint and steel. Food and water. He's going to talk about that, obviously. Guidance on finding and purifying water, trapped, uh, trapping game, fishing, and identifying edible plants, with an emphasis on sustainable foraging and preparation. And then obviously he's going to talk a little bit about tools and gear, some advice on selecting, using, and caring for basic equipment, favoring simplicity and duration over high-tech gadgets. Being a woodsman, he's going to be a navigator. So he's going to be talking about basic land navigation using natural signs like the suns, the stars, the terrain, and simple tools like a compass without heavy reliance on GPS. And then he's going to talk about a little bit about, camp craft, skills for setting up a functional campsite, including knot tying, cooking over a fire, and managing resources efficiently. Drawing from his historical practices, like those of the 19th century woodsmen and trappers. Canterbury blends old school wisdom with modern insights. The book is beginner friendly with clear instructions and illustration, but also offers values to seasoned outdoorsmen looking to refine their skills. It's less about surviving extreme disasters and more about comfortable living in nature for extended periods, whether recreational or by necessity. It was published in 2014 as the first in a series, followed by Advanced Bushcraft and others. Bushcraft 101 reflects Canterbury's philosophy of preparedness through knowledge and adaptability. It's compact and portable, making it a literal field companion, and encourages readers to practice skills in real world settings to build confidence and competence. Bonus content for something new to take a look at. I'm starting to see this book pop up all over the place. It's called the Ranger Medic Handbook. It's written by the Department of Defense. It's an official medical instruction manual designed for Ranger medics of the 75th Ranger Regiment. If you guys didn't know that, these guys are actually kind of the seen as special forces. Though its principles are applicable to other special operations forces like Navy SEALs. It serves as a critical resource for managing casualties in combat environments, aiming to reduce preventable deaths by equipping medics and leaders with the skills and protocols needed to deliver optimal care close to the point of energy. So basically, how to fix them where they're at. The handbook focuses on tactical combat casualty care, also known as TCCC. It emphasizes rapid response and advanced trauma management under battlefield conditions. It covers a broad spectrum of medical emergencies, including airway management, hemorrhage control, thoracic trauma, uh, hypovolemic shock, uh, um, hypovolemic shock. I knew I was reading that bullet wrong. Head injuries, seizure management, and orthopedic trauma. It also addresses environmental and infections or infectious conditions like hypothermia, malaria, diarrhea, and fungal infections, issues medics might encounter in diverse operational settings. It's structured for practical use. The book includes detailed procedures, flow charts, and protocols to guide medics through casualty assessment and treatment. The book outlines roles for Ranger first responders, squad EMTs, and advanced tactical practitioners. It integrates team-based care without disrupting combat operation. A key section on pharmacology provides insights into critical medications organized for quick reference. The handbook stresses that while directing casualty response and evacuation is a leadership task, ensuring technical medical competence fall to the ranger medic. Rooted in the reality that most combat deaths historically occur before advanced care is available, the book underscores the importance of immediate, effective intervention. Its ultimate goal is to enhance mission success by minimizing fatalities and maintaining operational momentum, reflecting the Ranger ethos of valuing honor and readiness to sacrifice for their comrades. The updated editions looks like is the newest one is the 2022 version. These protocols have been refined with the latest medical advancements. Often printed on durable waterproof paper for field use. Um, this precedes from some editions support wounded warrior causes, aligning with its broader mission of service. Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. Why prepping is more crucial now than ever before. With natural disasters popping, off left and right, economic, ups and downs, keeping us guessing, and geopolitical tensions simmering in the background. The world's a wild place these days. But prepping, it's your ticket to not just surviving the madness, but thriving through it. It's all about the peace of mind, that rock solid security you get knowing you're ready for anything. I hope today's video has fired you up to take charge of your preparedness game, because it's never too late to start. And let's not forget the power of knowledge. These books are talked about, they're gold mines waiting to be cracked open. They're packed with survival skills, self-reliance tips, and real-world lessons from people who've lived it. Whether it's mastering food storage, building shelters, or navigation through situations that acknowledge or that knowledge empowers you to adapt and overcome. So grab maybe one or two of these 7 must-read books. Start honoring those essential skills, and let's learn together. I want to thank you for watching. Drop a like if you enjoyed this, and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next one. So, as usual, guys, until the next time, stay safe, have a great day, and I shall see you when I see you. Links for the books are in the description. Bye-bye.